We are a nonprofit organization working to reduce the negative environmental, economic, and social impacts of invasive species across the East Kootenays. To achieve this, we coordinate invasive species management in the region, we educate about invasive species and their impacts, and we support invasive species management initiatives across the East Kootenays. We define an invasive species as any life form that has been displaced from its natural habitat to a new location where it is causing significant harm. These species disrupt ecosystems, affect human health, and cost us resources and money. Why is leafy spurge such a problem? Well, like many invasive species, it spreads quickly through grasslands, forests, forage areas, and pasture, forming dense monocultures. Ungulates like deer and elk and cows cannot eat leafy spurge, so it has a direct negative effect on ecosystems, farmland, and recreation areas. That is where the Strategic Invasive Plant Control of Leafy Spurge project comes in. This plant unfortunately has a foothold in the Columbia Valley, so we have partnered with the Kootenay Conservation Program and the Regional District of the East Kootenay through the Columbia Valley Local Conservation Fund to deliver a project dedicated to leafy spurge management for over a decade now. Last field season, we continued on with leafy spurge treatments, but we implemented a new component to the project, plot installation, as we are adapting the project for long-term monitoring with vegetation plots.
We are out here in the beautiful Columbia Valley doing some long-term monitoring of leafy spurge. We are installing plots to track the cover of leafy spurge over time. So the way we install these plots is that one plot includes 5 subplots, and they are center and then northeast southwest. At every plot we put in a nail and flagging tape to find in future years, and then we get 0.6 meter diameter hoops, put them on the plots, and then measure percent cover of all the plants. Because we're looking at leafy spurge specifically, we're also counting every leafy spurge plant and seeing how the count and the cover changes over time.
So this is one of the plots here. So what we're looking for is the percentage cover of the different types of vegetation in here. So the leafy spurge is mostly what we're concerned about. But you'll see in this one there's some rock, there's a lot of little leafy spurge rosettes that are just popping up here. So we'll record the amount of leafy spurge plants we see, and then also the percentage cover, and to just see how that changes year by year.
We have installed 6 vegetation plots across the landscape between Invermere and Radium. This is the area where the majority of the leafy spurge plants are in the East Kootenay, so we will show how the treatments work over time and how the plants change over time.
So this is the leafy spurge plant here. They can grow quite large and they are quite bushy. If you break them apart, they produce a milky sap, and this milky sap is toxic to both wildlife and humans. What makes the leafy spurge plant such a complex plant to manage is that its root systems they can spread up to 4.5 meters horizontally, and they can go 9 meters deep. So it's a huge, huge underground root system. The seed capsules here on the top, these will, once they dry and they explode out, so they will shoot quite a long distance away from the plant itself. So that makes management options really quite challenging, because you'll never pull a whole root system like that. So chemical treatment is generally the best treatment option for this plant.
Thanks to the support from the Columbia Valley Local Conservation Fund, we can return to these leafy spurge sites each year to work alongside herbicide applicators and implement chemical treatments, the most effective management option for this species. The establishment of these new vegetation plots is also helping us gain a clearer picture of the leafy spurge spread and the impact across the Columbia Valley.
We would just like to thank the Kootenay Conservation Program and the Regional District of the East Kootenay for providing funding and support for management of leafy spurge in the Columbia Valley.